Salutations, mortals and children of the night. I am the Vampire Otaku. Welcome to my channel. So this time I want to talk about 10 manga tips for beginners. A lot of these things I didn't follow, and it made my collecting career a little more difficult and a little more expensive than it needed to be. But I did stick to my vision of wanting to have a library, which is by definition about 1,000 books, 1,000 volumes, if you will. And I'm around 800 right now. I mean, I do have a few novels in my collection as well, and I kind of add that to the number. But a few more things that I envisioned that I really wanted since childhood was a ladder to slide across my bookshelf. I always thought that was so beautiful and so just elegant and exquisite. I haven't gotten that yet, but one day it's still in my vision, and I plan on making that reality. So 10 tips. First tip is try not to buy retail, price. Try not to buy what you see on the actual manga volume. If it says $9.99, try to find it for $8.99 or $7.99, etc. $20, $19.99. Try to find it $15.99 or $16.99. Get as many deals as you can, because these series are 10, 20, 30 volumes. So if you add that up, saving $1, saving $2, eventually, as you save a few dollars on each volume, it adds up to an extra volume or 2 or 3 volumes. And you could just collect more, and you could build your library quicker. But not to be in a rush, because rushing is just not the best thing for this hobby. My second tip is to know what you like and know what you dislike. If you're a person that is into action, blood and gore, you might not like slice of life, or you might not like romance. With that being said, the genres can intermingle. So you can have a beautiful romance inside of a bloody, gory story. The best thing to do is to just read online or check out the first volume. Go to your local library and get as much information as you can, because there's nothing worse than buying a series because the art's beautiful or because it has high praise and you really enjoy it, and you get to volume 3 or 4 and you hate it and you don't want it in your collection anymore. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, be patient. Sometimes a volume could be out of print, or it could be out of stock, whatever the case may be, and you have scalpers, people online that utilize the opportunity that they have that volume in their collection, and they know that the volume is hard to find, so they'll charge 50%, 100%, 200%, 300% the retail price. For instance, I'm a very big fan of Mysterious Girlfriend X. I had all the volumes except for volume 5, and I saw a copy of it on eBay for like $120. The retail price, I believe, is $15.99 or $19.99. That's a huge jump, but I bought it because it's one of my favorite series, and I kept hearing, on Waterstones, which is like a European site, and in Barnes & Nobles everywhere, that it was out of print. But then I also heard that it was just out of stock in some other places. So I was confused, but I didn't really want to chance it. I wanted the entire manga in my collection because it's one of my favorites. So I bought it, and maybe a month later, it came back in stock. And the copy that I bought wasn't even in the best condition. It was okay. It was a little beat up. So I bought the new print, and I basically gave it away, but I lost a lot of money on that one. And with that extra essentially $100, I could have bought so many more volumes of other series that I'm trying to collect. $10 series, like I'm working on finishing Hunter x Hunter, I'm working on finishing Yu Yu Hakusho, so all that money could have went towards that. So be patient, but at the same time, do your research and know if something is going to come back or if it's just gone forever. 9 times out of 10, it will come back. And if it doesn't, someone will sell it somewhere. So be patient. Tip number 4, try to make the most optimum space for your books. Meaning, if you live in a studio apartment, make sure that the real estate that you choose for your bookshelves doesn't interfere with other projects. Like if you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you have any other hobby that takes space, try not to let your bookshelves spill in to your other space. And always make sure that you have bookshelves that are going to fit the amount of books that you want. It goes back to knowing how much you want and sticking to your vision. I want at least 1,000 volumes. After that, we'll see. But I want a library. That was my dream. And with that being said, I live in a studio apartment and I have a designated wall for it. I try to make space for everything that I do. I play violin, I do art, I make cosplay. So everything has a designated space. And sometimes you have to double stack. Sometimes you have to sacrifice something else that you do, or don't sacrifice something that you do and hold off on your books, maybe put them in a box or something. But it's really good to have real estate for what you collect and make space for it. Make a wall, make a corner, make something, because there's nothing worse than just having a pile of books. They get damaged, they get lost, a lot of things happen. So always make space. Tip number 5, try to figure out how you want your books to be organized, how you want your manga volumes to be organized. I have a weird way of organizing mine. I kind of organize them from genre and just how much they mean to me, how big of an impact they had in my life. Some people do alphabetical, some people do it by the mangaka, some people organize by the size and the color. Whatever fits your aesthetic, whatever makes you enjoy looking at your mangas, plan it out. And then also, if you choose to do it by size, or you choose to do it by mangaka or publisher, whatever your cup of tea, if it doesn't work for you at first, always have like a few other ideas. Like if I get tired doing it by genre, I can switch it up to author or anything else. I always have a little bit of space. Yeah, it's really important to know exactly how you want your volumes to be displayed, and you want them to be in order, because it helps you find them. Because once you get like 200 or 300 volumes, I feel like it becomes more difficult to find certain series. Like, for example, I'm in the mood for a romance. My romances are towards the top because it's one of my favorite genres. If I'm in the mood to read something about space, it's kind of towards the middle. I try to put the same authors together as well. I kind of connect certain series by the things that are in common. For instance, I have Rohan at the Louvre, and then I have Cats at the Louvre next to each other. Both of those are about the Louvre, so I like having those cute connections. I also really love putting Berserk next to cute stuff. I have my Berserk next to Cardcaptor Sakura, and it just brings me joy. So if it makes sense to you, do it for sure. Number 6, be open-minded. This one is one of my favorites because as a child, I've always been kind of just stuck in my ways. I was an old man even in elementary school. I found something I liked and I just stuck to it, and I was never open to anyone else's suggestions or any other ideas. And as I grew older and I let people in and I started trying new things, it was my world expanded. Like I enjoyed so many things that I thought I would hate or I thought would clash with things that I'm into. I love the goth lifestyle. I love metal. So classical, no, it's too soft. R&B is too soft, too calm. But as I opened my heart up to these different genres of music, I fell in love with them. And now I kind of have a music for every emotion that I'm feeling and everything that I'm doing. If I'm drawing, if I start off drawing, I'm listening to classical music. And when I'm in my zone, when I'm in the rhythm, when I'm shading and just really getting into it, we're listening to metal, Lamb of God, Darkest Hour. I mean, Darkest Hour isn't really metal like that, but it's heavier. It's heavy music. Arc Enemy, Meshuggah, just heavy stuff. And then when I'm starting off, it could be R&B, Aaliyah, classical, Bach. Actually, Bach is more Baroque, but Mozart, things of that nature. So, with that being said, going on a tangent, be open-minded. If you're somebody that doesn't like slice of life, try it from time to time, even just one volume. You might find something that blows your mind, something that completely blindsides you. Like, speaking of Berserk, the creator, Kentaro, he read a lot of shoujo and got inspired by that. And even though it's a very dark story, it's beautifully done because it's so open. Like, there's so much influence in it. And Clamp, they like JoJo. You'd be surprised who influences who, what influences what. I like romance, I like dark stuff, I like slice of life, I like giant robots. Just anything that I can really sink my teeth into, I'm gonna try. And I'll be honest with myself if I hate it or if I love it, but just be open to it. Tip number 7, download a way to read manga legally. Shonen app, any apps that you can download to read manga, because our library, our collections, they're real estate. They take up so much space in our homes. For example, one of my favorite YouTubers, the Omnibus Collector, he has an actual library, like thousands of mangas, and it takes up so much space. And it's really important to preview, to see how much you like something before you add it, because each manga that you add to your collection, takes up space, and that space could have been used for something that you love. And this is just something that, it's okay. Something that's a 6 out of 10 versus something that's a 9 out of 10. So definitely download an app to read digitally. Me personally, I am not a fan of digital reading, but I do what I have to do in order to find new mangas and to find new genres that I didn't think I'd like. I didn't think I'd like music manga because I like to hear it, but here's a great example. Blue Giant. The way that the panels are drawn, you can feel the music, you can see the music, you can almost hear it in your mind, and there's such fluidity and movement in each panel that I realized that music being drawn out is such a beautifully underrated thing. Now I love music mangas like Beck, Your Lie, April, Given. They're just amazing. So definitely download some apps. Tip number 8, buy used copies. Go to Half Price Books, Book Depository, thrift books, thrift stores. Thrifting for books is such a great idea in my opinion. I went to a thrift store about, I want to say 7 or 8 months ago. Found like 12 volumes of Naruto there. Each of them were $2 each. That's amazing, and they were all in good condition. Granted, pages were a little bit yellow, but Naruto isn't exactly a brand new series. Been around for a second, but they were all in good condition. And sometimes you can take those type of finds and you can actually resell them, make some more money, and buy stuff that you like. Or, if you're lucky, you found something great at a thrift store or at, an online store that sells used. Also, be on the lookout for overstocked mangas. Overstocked mangas might have like a little dot on the paper, like a little marker. They go for really cheap. If you're, if you don't have a problem with having a little dot, like a little marker on the edge of your paper, it's a really great way to collect cheap manga. Tip number 9, box sets are cool. I love box sets. I try to get as many as I can. There are many reasons why box sets are cool though. One of my favorites is you get to collect an entire series or a big chunk of a series, save money, get a poster, and a box set is a little more durable than just having your loose books out, so you can store it wherever. So I think it's good for space saving. It's easy to move if you're moving to a different place. It's cheaper. It looks aesthetic. Like, I love having my box sets just hang out on top of my bookshelf. I think it looks great. And just getting anything extra is really cool, whether it's a poster, a booklet, an art book, whatever you get extra, I think is just so awesome. And the thing about box sets, they generally come out after the series is done, or maybe like a quarter of the series is done. And it's hard to gauge when they're gonna make a box set and if they're gonna make a box set. Like, Wotakoi got a box set. I didn't expect that. I didn't think they would make a Wotakoi box set. Chainsaw Man got a box set. I saw that coming. I just finished collecting Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. Well, I'm not finished, but I'm caught up. It's like 17 volumes, a side story, and a volume 0. Now they're making a box set, and I'm a little salty about it because the box set is so cool. It's a toilet stall, and it's so aesthetic. But that being said, lately box sets haven't really held the entire manga series. So you'll have like 20 volumes and it'll hold like 10. I'm not really a big fan of that, but still, box sets are really cool and they're a great way to collect manga. And tip number 10, have a budget. It's very easy to say, I'm gonna spend $100 on manga. Go to a physical store and then see everything you need. And FOMO sets in, fear of missing out, where if I don't get volume 6, it might not be there tomorrow or next week when I get paid or whenever. So then you end up spending 120, 130, even 110. You have to set your baseline and stick to it, which is very difficult. I feel like it's more difficult in physical stores and online, but the other side of that is when you shop online and they have a deal, so you're like, I'm saving money, I'm good. And then you go over your $100, but in your head you're like, well, I saved money, so I still got a lot. So it's kind of difficult to be hard on yourself when it's your hard-earned money. But you have to think about your bills, your obligations, things that you need. It's very easy to buy these books. They're small, they don't cost a lot individually, and not think about the things that are important and necessary. So be strict and set your budget, set your limit. And if you want to go over that limit, find a way to make extra money on the side to pay for that over limit. But be strict with yourself. Bonus content. Another tip is don't buy out of print manga. Me, I've purchased about, I want to say 2, but they came back in stock. But one of them, they're so hard to find. They're so expensive. Of course, it's your hard-earned money. Do what you want, but wow, they get really expensive. I'm collecting Initial D. I believe there's 33 volumes in English, and there's 40 something in the original Japanese run, the Tokubans. And it's been an expensive journey, but I love it. I love cars. I love having that nostalgia and those beautiful silver spines in my collection. But if you're on a budget, or if you're just starting off, I don't recommend out of print. That's more of you're rolling in money. You just don't have a lot of other mangas to buy. It's just when you spend $30 or $40 or $50 on each volume, and they're not even in mint condition, it's difficult. But if you love a series, if you love GTO or another series that's hard to find, that's out of print, Mushushi, you're gonna have a bad time. But sometimes it's really fun to get those really hard to find volumes and find them in good condition. So don't give up, but everything in moderation. With that being said, I hope that these tips help you, and I hope that if you're on the fence about collecting physical manga copies, that you just do it. You know, you buy some classics, you buy some Sailor Moon, you buy some Dragon Ball Z, you buy some well-known ones, and you find some ones that people don't talk about as often, like Complex Age, one that I talked about before. Or I don't hear a lot of people talk about High Score Girl. I think that one's amazing. I hope you get some box sets, like the Akira box set's amazing, and I also really enjoy the Sweat and Soap box set. That one's really cute. I hope that you open your mind to different genres and you don't just buy shonen, or you just don't buy shoujo. You buy everything in between. I hope that you get to enjoy everything in the genres that you overlooked. I hope that you find the best deals, and even the hard volumes are easy for you to find. So those are my tips. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.